At the ripe old age of 29, I had achieved what I'd always considered life milestones. Milestones that, when achieved, I believed I would be happy. These included the usual tick boxes: the house, the partner, the career. And so you can imagine my perplexity when, having achieved these life goals, I realised I wasn't happy. In fact, I was desperately unhappy. So I asked myself a question right before my 30th birthday, and my response made me change my life. The question I asked myself was, what would I regret not doing by the time I was 50? An answer came to me. It was a business I was passionate about and had thought about for many years. So I just did it, without any skills, experience, or connections in that industry. I just did it. And it's brought me to where I am today, living my purpose, because I often find our passion is tied to our purpose. Follow your passion to find your purpose. During my research for today, I resonated with another TED talker about how to stop screwing yourself over. She spoke about the odds of each of us being born at the exact moment in time with our exact DNA to our parents with our unique set of skills. 1 in 400 trillion. I found this likelihood amazing, and it really resonated with me because I've always believed in the power of individuality and viewed that being exactly who I am as a distinct advantage. This statistic further supported my belief that we're all absolutely unique and that we've each been gifted with a special set of skills to fulfill a specific purpose in life. And while I believe we each have our own individual purpose, I think there are multiple ways to fulfill it, as I have discovered on my journey. My search for my purpose began in my early 20s. It included many jobs, industries, fields of study, states, and salary brackets. On average, I would change job every 6 to 9 months because I was constantly looking for this state of euphoria that I was certain that I would feel when I found it. And as a woman on a mission, I would say yes to every opportunity, even if I didn't know how to do it, confident I would work it out in time. HR, recruitment, Pilates instructing, sales, administration, self-employment, you name it, I have likely done it. But all with the same outcome, a sense of loss and a lack of purpose. Now you may be wondering, how will I know when I find it? As I had always imagined, it is indeed a certain state of euphoria. You feel on song, your heart and soul hum in tune. You feel content and satisfied. You feel like you're contributing to something larger than yourself. In your own way, you feel like you're changing the world. I would like you all to close your eyes. I would like you all to imagine your lives in 20 years' time, exactly as it is now. Absolutely nothing has changed. You're in the same relationship, and you work at the same company, in the same job, with the same boss. You live in the same house, and you drive the same car. You have the same friends, and your weekends are pretty much Groundhog Day. How does that make you feel? Take the first step. Identify your passion and work out a way to do it for the rest of your lives. Again, you may be thinking, how do I do that? How do I take the first step? The way I took control of my life was through the application of a tool called above and below the line behaviours. Above the line behaviours are when we take ownership of our situation, we hold ourselves accountable, and we take responsibility for our behaviours and actions. These behaviours are known as the Victoire Behaviors. And then conversely, when we are behaving in a way that is considered below the line, we are making excuses or justifying why something hasn't happened. We are blaming others, or we are going into avoidance or denial about why we are in our current situation. These behaviours are known as the victim behaviours. Each of us dips below the line. What is different about victors, however, is that they are aware. They catch themselves doing it, they hold themselves to account, and they yank themselves back up above the line. We all have the power to move ourselves from below the line to above the line. Each of us can apply this tool to empower ourselves to make positive change in our own lives. My primary purpose is to be a global advocate and supporter of women, empowering them to follow their dreams and live their lives with passion and purpose every day. I now run a business whose primary purpose is to forever alter the culture of the global business community so that women are recognised as equals and celebrated for their brilliance, talent, and unlimited capability. This business was started in 2011 by 4 women out of their own personal need. They connected at an entrepreneurial event and were only a handful of women in a room of 500 men. As women tend to do, they started talking. Each of them, in their own way, was experiencing a sense of isolation and loneliness and a lack of support in their own businesses. So they decided to hold an event to attract other women like them, women who were full of passion, but without anyone to speak to about the daily challenges they were experiencing in their own businesses. Within 2 weeks, 160 tickets had sold, and a movement was born. Starting out in business means we often work from home. We go from being surrounded by people in a corporate or office environment to being by ourselves, day in, day out, without anyone else to speak to about the struggles we are facing. This loneliness and isolation can sometimes be so debilitating that people give up. They give up on their dreams and they go back to the corporate wheel. I believe that the future and the global economy rests on entrepreneurship. And it is my purpose to encourage women to participate actively in entrepreneurial activities worldwide through providing communities for them to connect, be inspired, motivate, support, and ultimately drive each other onwards and upwards to building a bigger and better businesses. I believe that through community, we can move the world forward. We started out just holding events, first in Melbourne, then Sydney, then Brisbane, and we are now in 9 locations Australia-wide. But we wanted to do more, so we did. We built a membership to help these women build bigger businesses. Membership provides access to videos, podcasts, webinars, a business directory, downloadable resources, and partner benefits. These are the practical elements that we have put in place to help these communities build bigger businesses, and they also complement the sense of belonging, participation, and inspiration they receive through participating in our events. In 4 years, we have built a vibrant community of over 40,000 female entrepreneurs, all who either work full-time or part-time in their business, or who have a seed of an idea. We also have an active student base, young women who have still at university, but have realised that entrepreneurship is a very viable option, and they are working towards starting their own businesses. It is the experience and journey of one of our members, Sarah, who highlights the importance and the value of belonging to a community. Sarah attended our very first event in 2011 in Melbourne. She came along to support one of her friends who was speaking at the event. This was Sarah's very first real introduction to entrepreneurship, because at the time she was still studying at university full-time. Her sole focus at that point was to graduate and become a lawyer. That was her definition of success. But through attending the event and meeting the other women who were building successful businesses, she experienced an aha moment and realised that there are other opportunities and paths out there. 2012, Sarah attends another event. This time she's a little bit more active and helps to set it up. She hears from another successful female entrepreneur who has built a very successful business and has achieved a multi-million-dollar turnover. While still at university, this reinforced for Sarah that the corporate path, while conventional, is not the only path. 2013, Sarah is a fully fledged lawyer at this point. She's graduated from university. She's wearing the suits, she's earning the money, and yet still wanting to connect with other women who are doing things differently. She attends the event and hears from a young woman who, at 21, had started her own online beauty business, which, in 2001, was well before her time. Her idea was ridiculed by many, but she persevered. For Sarah, this was game-changing. She realised this was the path she wanted to take, and even though she didn't have her idea at the time, this simply reinforced that this is what she wanted to do. Over the next 2.5 years, Sarah attends many events, and they are a constant presence and a regular reminder to her of what else is out there. In 2014, while travelling through Asia, she discovers the idea, and her business was born. She initially approached it as a creative outlet and hobby. Through hearing others' tales of success, she decided to try. One of her very first customers was someone she had met at one of the events. Fast forward to 2015, and the magic has happened. Sarah's business has flourished, and she has recently left her role as a full-time lawyer to work on her business full-time. the business that she is so passionate about. She was invited to share her story through one of our webinars, and to date, it is one of the most highly attended webinars we've ever held, thus proving the support of a community of women. Sarah's biggest fears stem from self-doubt. Will this work? Can I sustain myself? But through the connections and the friendships she had built up over the last 4 years, she had many women she could draw, whose advice and inspiration she could draw from to help her moving forward, even when she was having a bad day. We aim to be relevant through every stage of the business cycle for women, from university through the corporate life, from startup to growth. We understand how difficult it can be to leave the corporate world and to start your own business, but we hope to provide inspiration, connection, and constant encouragement for women who want to follow their passion and start their own business. As women, we are more successful when we work together, when we inspire, empower, support, connect, and ultimately band together as a unit, driving each other onwards and upwards. We want you to succeed. We want you to live a life filled with purpose and passion, bubbling with energy for the contribution you are making to this world. Each of us is building a legacy. So why not do it together as a collective of women intent on changing the world with our brilliance, our talent, and our unlimited capability? So my core message is, if you haven't found your purpose, start the search. Ask yourself the same question I did. What would you regret not doing by the time you're 50? What would your days look like? What would you spend your time doing? What would your environment look like? Who would you be doing it with? When you're 100, how do you want your life to have played out? What community are you going to connect to help you achieve your purpose? So I'd like to leave you with some of the words from one of the most powerful thoughts I've ever had the good fortune to come across. They were spoken by Marianne Williamson. She said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, talented, gorgeous, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Find a community, connect, and follow your passion." Thank you.